Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm writing to Consciousness, Advaita Vedanta's teachings about your true nature, Atma. I'm looking at Swami Tadatmananda's video and looking for the ones I haven't done yet. And also, I know he talks a lot about this, but I've not seen this video. Amazingly, I don't know how I missed it. So let's go ahead and give it a shot.
This presentation is about the nature of consciousness, your consciousness, and specifically how your consciousness is utterly untouched by any kind of misery or worldly suffering. This presentation is based on the wisdom of the sages of ancient India as expressed in the teachings of Advaita Vedanta. How is it possible for your consciousness to be free from suffering? Loss, failure, pain, illness, all these are inevitable. We can minimize suffering in life, but we can't totally avoid it. Then what is the solution?
And that is my again my in a sense statement. It's the fact that my I'll say my method is to reduce suffering. Um, and now that as I watch his videos and as I hear about Swami Vivekananda, where his body still suffers. Um, I keep hearing stories of him like crying, weeping, because of I guess the suffering of the world in a sense, seeing people suffer and all that, and hardships of people. To me, again, when I first heard that, it's kind of confusing. I thought, when you're enlightened, you don't suffer. But, and then when you hear Sri Ramakrishna, especially with Swami Sarvapriyananda talk about, his throat cancer, where he doesn't show it. As far as I can tell, he doesn't show it. But he keeps doing the joke about the doctor seeing him and asking how he's doing, and he's saying he's fine, or something. I can't remember exactly, but the doctor says, I know you're suffering or whatever, and he goes, he's found me out. Yes, the body's suffering, his throat is suffering. I can't remember if he seems to be unfazed by it, I believe. So we have two different kind of view on that. Like Sri Ramakrishna doesn't seem well. Actually, in the beginning, he did suffer quite a lot, apparently. Because again, I remember the story of him constantly crying in front of the Kali statue because he's lost sight or vision of the Mother Goddess. But then one day it came back, I guess, or perhaps maybe he became enlightened that day and then no longer suffered. It doesn't seem like his body suffered. Let's put it that way. Um, Whereas Swami Vivekananda, I believe when he came to America, when he talked about the stories of him, it's not like he does it every day. It's just like you see, he still does weep because of the suffering of the world. But I figured, an enlightened being doesn't suffer that, So I'm not sure. Again, I guess the reason why I'm unsure is because I've always thought when you're enlightened that you don't suffer, not even the body. But it seems more and more that the body still suffer regardless, but your true self doesn't. Which at that point, considering how I've understood it, your true self never ever suffers. Whether you're attached to your body or not, your true self never suffers. So by realizing this, I think in my opinion, the ultimate goal is the reduction of suffering of your body because there's nothing you can do to change your true self. Your true self is never changing, unchanging. So you don't have to reduce or stop suffering of your true self. There's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do is with the Maya body or your ego is the only thing you can change. And I think for me, that's what I've realized, or that's what my goal was, not knowing about my true self. And so Um, that's my goal, I guess you could say.
The ancient rishis discovered that loss, failure, pain, and illness can't truly affect you. They can't even touch you. Why? Because they don't truly belong to you. How can that be? To explain, suppose you're returning to your car in a parking lot, and parked next to your car is another car that happens to be exactly the same color, make, and model as yours. From a distance, you can't tell which car is yours. As you get closer, you notice that one of the cars has been badly damaged. Someone carelessly smashed into the car and left. Seeing the damaged car, you start to worry, wondering if it's your car that was damaged or the other car. When you get close enough, you can see that your car is fine. It's the other car that's damaged, and you feel a great sense of relief. Now, consider this. The damage exists, and you see the damage, you experience it, but it doesn't affect you at all because the damage doesn't belong to you. Since the damage doesn't belong to you, there's no problem. Suppose this were true about all the problems of life: getting a headache, losing a job, misplacing your cell phone. Suppose these problems don't actually belong to you, and if they don't belong to you, they can't affect you. That's great, but how could this be possible?
I will say that's interesting. So far, the three examples I gave, one wasn't something that was external necessarily, a headache. It could be, someone annoying or not getting enough sleep, well, being disturbed in your sleep. But the other ones are loss of job or missing something. Um, Now, like loss of job or missing your cell phone. These are external things. Whereas a headache is not necessarily external per se. And I don't know, I just thought that was kind of interesting because, like, I can understand, losing a phone or I guess losing a job's a little bit of in the middle of the headache and the losing the phone because it's something that's external and material, but also internal because it's your kind of livelihood, and which can cause a headache. But okay, something internal and external so far as the examples he gave.
That's great, but how could this be possible? Hopefully, this presentation will answer that question. According to the teachings of Vedanta, you are a conscious being. The essence of who you are, then, is awareness or consciousness. You are the conscious observer of all that you see. You are the awareful witness of everything you experience. In Sanskrit, we use the word sakshi to describe your fundamental nature as a conscious observer or awareful witness. As a sakshi, observer, you are categorically separate and distinct from anything you observe. When you see a bunch of bananas, you are separate and distinct from the bananas. When you see a little puppy, you are separate and distinct from the puppy. And when you observe your own hand, as the sakshi, conscious observer, you are separate and distinct even from your hand. When you see your own body, it's known to you in the same way that the bananas or puppy are known to you. Your body is an object observed by you. Therefore, you are separate and distinct from your body because you are the awareful witness who observes it. Of course, your body is different from other things in the world because you feel sensations in your body, feelings like cold and heat, pressure and pain. Also, your eyes, ears, nose, and mouth pick up other sensations like colors, sounds, and smells and tastes. All these sensations are conveyed to your brain. Because of your brain's vast network of neurons and synapses, you experience all these sensations in your mind. As sensations arise in your mind, you observe them. Each sensation is an object in your mind, a mental object, and you are the conscious observer who perceives them. As the Sakshi, you witness not only sensations, you witness your thoughts as well. Like your sensations, thoughts too are mental objects. As thoughts arise in your mind, they become known to you, the conscious observer, Sakshi. And, in addition to sensations and thoughts, emotions also arise in your mind. When you feel happy or sad, these emotions arise as mental objects which are observed by you, just like your sensations and thoughts. As the Sakshi, you witness the constantly changing flow of sensations, thoughts, and emotions as they arise in your mind. To use a modern metaphor, it's as though there is a screen in your mind, like in a movie theater, and on that screen is projected your constantly changing flow of sensations, thoughts, and emotions. You are the conscious observer, Sakshi, who watches as sensations, thoughts, and emotions appear on the screen of your mind. And, as the conscious observer, you are separate and distinct from whatever you observe. Really speaking, your sensations, thoughts, and emotions belong to your mind, not to you, the conscious observer. And if your sensations, thoughts, and emotions actually belong to your mind, not to you, then how can they affect you, the awareful witness, Sakshi?
I guess another interesting way to explain this, I mean, at least for me, for the time being, is the fact that if you're experiencing it or are aware of it, then it's not you. It's almost to say that you can't be aware of yourself. And I guess this kind of goes into the fact of what has been said in the past, where you can never be the object, you're always the subject. So, because and in that sense, being the subject means you're not, the subject cannot be the uh, the experienced. Objects are experienced. I'm experiencing this cup. I'm experiencing the taste and flavor and the liquidity of this drink. I'm seeing this video. I'm hearing it. You're hearing me. So all these things that we sense are objects, which goes back to we cannot sense ourselves because we are the subject of the matter, and therefore we cannot experience it, and we cannot be the object. Amazingly, it took this video for me to kind of put that together. I've understood it, but it's kind of still hard to. I don't think I'm not. I don't know if the word believe is the right word for it, but I guess grasp perhaps. Like how can we not know ourselves? Essentially, how can we not know ourselves? To know something, it must be an object. I believe in a way because we can observe it, listen to it, we can sense it in a sense, either by hearing, seeing, touching, tasting, or whatever it may be. It's hard to know something that you cannot sense with in any of your five senses, right? I mean, imagine, I don't know. Imagine something you never sensed, tasted, touched, or ever before. It's like, what is that like? Unicorn. Well, no, we have images of unicorns. We have an idea of what it could be like. It's a horse, so I don't know. It's interesting to to think about it. Anyways, let's continue.
This is one of the most important discoveries of the ancient rishis. To make these teachings more clear, suppose you're sitting comfortably in a theater to watch a movie. When a sad scene is projected on the screen, you feel sad. And when a happy scene is projected on the screen, you feel happy. This is what happens to you throughout each day as happy and sad experiences are projected on the screen of your mind. When I was a child, most theaters in this country had an intermission followed by a second movie. We called these double features. There's also a double feature projected on the screen of your mind. The first feature is everything that happens while you're awake. The second feature is your dreams. And your dreams can be really strange, like a science fiction movie. The first movie represents your waking state, Jagrat Avastha, when everything you experience throughout the day is projected on the screen of your mind. The second movie represents your dream state, Swapna Avastha, when all your dream experiences are projected on the screen of your mind. But what happens in deep sleep when there are no dreams? That state is called Sushupti Avastha. To understand the state of deep sleep, suppose the second feature has come to an end and you remain in the theater watching as the screen goes black. You find yourself in a perfectly dark theater looking at a perfectly black screen. This describes the experience of deep, dreamless sleep, Sushupti Avastha. In deep sleep, you are the awareful witness of the silence of your mind. You remain fully conscious, but there are no mental activities to be conscious of. Just like sitting in a dark theater, watching a black screen, in deep sleep, you are the conscious observer of a completely silent mind. You do not cease being a conscious observer during deep sleep. Your consciousness does not blink on and off like the light bulb in your refrigerator. Your consciousness reveals what is happening on the screen of your mind every single moment, whether you are awake, dreaming, or in deep sleep. That
I was trying to. I would love to ask this question. Um, so apparently, according to sleep scientists, they say that we dream about 2 to 3 times a day when we're sleeping. It's just that we don't remember it. So mind you, I believe they say our mind is not truly asleep. It's whenever we're sleeping, that's when our mind becomes, generally speaking, more active. I don't know if that's still true. I remember hearing about that some time ago, so correct me if I'm wrong there. And what it does, what it essentially is doing is turning a lot of the short-term memory into long-term memory. Guess reinforcing those electrical connections. So our consciousness is still aware of all those things, but we don't remember it. We are not aware of it. We're aware of it, but we're not aware of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and sometimes we do remember our dreams. So, you wake up, it's like, oh man, I had a really scary dream. It was, or, just a dream in general. Why are we, when we wake up, aware of some dreams, but not all dreams? And why we're not aware of the connections that our brain is doing when we're asleep? If you have a guess on that, let me know. I'm curious. To me, I do have an answer to that. I have a guess on that. And now, mind you, be truthful if you have the same answer or not, or if you have a different answer. To me, is while your brain is writing things from short to long-term memory, I'm guessing if there's anything that you remember, it's written in short term. So when you're awake, you become consciously aware of the short term part, or perhaps it becomes long term. That's the reason why if you had 3 to 5 dreams, but you wake up and had no dream, it's because none of it was written on your memory. So while you may have been conscious during the time of all these dreams, you don't remember it when you wake up. I guess technically that would explain people with like short-term memory loss and stuff, where they don't remember what they've done, or people who have this condition where they don't remember anything new, but they remember everything from a certain period of their life. There was I believe, a British guy that after an accident, he can't remember anything after that accident. Every day or every 5 minutes is a new day for him. So so essentially, it's like, imagine. I'm not gonna say that, but well, I'll say it. Just imagine the last thing you did was just take a dump. Sorry to say that, but it's hilarious to me. And then you got up, you didn't wash your hands yet, and then all of a sudden that condition hits you. The Whenever every 5 minutes you just remember you just took a poop. So you go and wash your hands because you're habitual in that nature. So every 5 minutes you're sitting going to the sink. It's like, oh man, I forgot to wash my hands. It's like, oh man, I just did my business and I had to wash my hands. And then maybe at one point when you're doing that, you're like, man, I just this is the second time in 2 minutes. I don't know. Um, but I'm guessing that's in terms of like why you can't remember your 2 to 3 dreams every night, even though you're aware and conscious, because this person also is aware of conscious of everything he has done, even after the fact. It's just he doesn't remember. Hmm. I may have answered my question, but I would love to hear what the Swami's uh, answer to that would be. As a matter of fact, I need to write him. I need to write both about questions about my question a long time ago, which I did. I did send him a question a long time ago, but he never. I don't believe he's gotten a chance to answer it. And then this one, I'm assuming that might be correct. That being aware doesn't mean you remember things. You're always aware of the present. Anything that happens in the future and the past you're never aware of, because it's not the present. Present is the only thing that really exists. So therefore, your consciousness is unaffected by memory because it doesn't have memory.
That consciousness is you, the essence of who you are. It can't be an utterly mundane object like the light in your refrigerator. To better understand how you remain fully conscious in deep sleep, this illustration might be helpful. Imagine you are standing outside a room, looking in through the window. The room is brightly illumined by a lamp located on the side where you can't see it directly. The walls of the room are painted black, but you can clearly see the furnishings in the room. Now, suppose we remove all the furnishings from the room, except for the lamp. Then the room would still be filled with light from the lamp, but you would see only blackness. Even though the light is on, you see only blackness because there is nothing in the room to be seen. In this example, the room with black walls represents your mind, and its furnishings represent your sensations, your thoughts, and emotions. The light represents your consciousness. In deep sleep, sensations, thoughts, and emotions disappear, and your mind becomes totally silent. But even then, your mind continues to be bathed in consciousness. You remain present as the awareful observer, but there's nothing left in your mind to be observed, just like the empty room filled with light. Deep sleep is like gazing into pure darkness. In deep sleep, you observe the silence of your mind. Everything we have seen so far confirms what the ancient rishis taught, that your true nature as an awareful witness is Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means that which is real, that which is unborn, uncreated, and unchanging, that which remains even in deep sleep. Chit means conscious, being able to illumine your mind to reveal your senses, thoughts, and emotions. Ananda is best understood as being perfectly content and peaceful.
Hmm.
But now we have to ask, how can you be perfectly content and peaceful when the screen of your mind is constantly cluttered with scenes of frustration and irritation, scenes of sadness and grief, scenes of hurt and resentment? You can remain perfectly content only if you are utterly unaffected by anything projected on the screen of your mind. As we saw before, you are separate and distinct from everything projected on the screen of your mind because you are the conscious observer of all that's projected. So, whatever is projected on the screen of your mind belongs to your mind, not to you, the conscious observer. Let's conclude by returning to our movie theater. Suppose you're watching a movie and come to a particularly heartbreaking scene. You'll probably feel sad. You might even cry. But you know that whatever happens in the movie doesn't really affect you. So you enjoy the sad scene. You might even enjoy crying. Outside the theater, you also feel sad when sad experiences are projected on the screen of your mind. And just like in the theater, those sad experiences don't truly affect you, the awareful witness, Sakshi. As the conscious observer, you are completely separate from the screen of your mind and utterly unaffected by anything projected on it. It's interesting that so many people love sad movies. Someone might be in tears after watching a movie and say, "That's the best movie I've seen in years." If you can enjoy a sad movie, then it must be possible to enjoy the sad scenes of life as well. Life is like a really, really long movie with lots of scenes, lots of happy scenes, and some difficult or unpleasant scenes as well.
Well, I guess that's a pretty interesting example there. I'll say this. It's like the difference is obviously when we watch a movie, we know it's a movie. It's not real. But at the same time, generally speaking, we don't come out from a sad movie and say, well, maybe we do. I think of Infinity, not Endgame. Well, or both, really. Um, but at the same time, we could say that same thing with this, where as Atma, sorry, that we are the observer of life. So, in very similar sense, that this is a movie. Was it the play of Maya? Anyways, that this is a movie, and we're observing it as well.
With the help of the teachings of Vedanta, we can learn that we are okay no matter what is projected on the screens of our minds, so we can sit back, relax, and enjoy each scene as it unfolds in our lives.
That blank area there might have been muted, depending on copyright stuff. I'm assuming he is done with this. All right, so I mean, interesting. This is an older video because I'm trying to find videos of Swami here. A lot of his recent ones are a lot of continuations from a much, much longer segment of talking about the Bhagavad Gita and perhaps the greater details, and another another long series that he has of his. But I mean, again, I should have went in order of his videos because this was actually a very well. Maybe going out of order was okay because I have a better understanding of this now as I've watched many videos talking about Advaita Vedanta, and this has made a lot more sense and cleared up a few more things than amazingly of all the videos I've watched. I mean, just it just realigns a lot of the things that I already know, but it helps me understand them a little bit better as well. So is this my reaction to consciousness Advaita Vedanta's teachings about your true nature, Atma. If you like my content, Atma. Yes, Atma. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, the stand down below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next vid.